Hello, everybody. Welcome into a brand new edition of the Computer America Show. It is Monday, and Ben and I are looking forward to doing some really terrific programs with you. Hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. In the first hour, we're going to be doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America. 1 minute
until showtime.
And then in the second hour, we're going to have MyRescueDog. MyRescue.dog. Yes, it's exactly. It's about the .dog domain. What that's all about. We're going to have Jeff Davidoff, the CMO for MyRescue.dog, is going to be here with us. So sit back, relax, enjoy it as we bring to you 2 hours of Computer America right here. And you heard the countdown, right?
For the 18th time.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Monday.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad. A whole new week of Computer America ready to go.
Yes, and we've got some terrific things to talk about. It's going to be an interesting week. And again, welcome to all of you on our new daytime. This begins the third week of our daytime programming from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And we welcome all of you here on the show. And so let me just give out some phone numbers. If you have a comment or question for me or our guests or anything having to do with computers and technology, we'd love to hear from you. 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Also, if you don't want to go on the air, you're radio shy, but you still have a question for us, we can take that question with our Submit a Question mechanism. It's up in the right-hand corner of every page at ComputerAmerica.com, which is the internet home of our national radio talk show. You click the Submit a Question, and you'll take you to our question submission page. You can ask your question, type it in, click the Submit button, and Ben and I will see your question or comment, and we'll read it on the air and answer it, hopefully. The other thing that you can do is watch our live streaming video. Our live streaming video is available at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the show lounge. Again, it's on every page. It's in the pull-down menu bar. And the live video stream will begin automatically. So you can watch the show as well as listen to the show. And Ben has the technology to display websites, movies, videos, everything. So you can actually see what we're talking about as well as listen to the program. It's just a lot of fun, and certainly you can do that again. Now, you can also, as I say, listen to the show on Blog Talk Radio. You can listen to us on the TuneIn Radio Network, carries the show live. We're on the IRN Radio Network. And we're now on 2 new services. We're on Stitcher, carries the show, and SoundCloud. So you can listen to them, the archives of our shows on all those places. Even Apple's iTunes, of course, carries the archives of shows. But for the live show, you want to catch us on the IRN Radio Network and the Blog Talk Radio Network, just go to syndication under our Computer America page. It'll tell you all the different places where you can listen to the live show, as well as where you, under the archives pull-down menu, where you can listen to broadcast time shifted at your own leisure. So that's all available to you at ComputerAmerica.com. So anything else you want to mention before we start doing the news, Ben?
No. Well, yeah, actually, Destiny just came out last Tuesday, the new expansion to Taken King, and I have done absolutely nothing productive since it came out. It is so much fun. So much fun.
All right. So now tomorrow's our Gamer Tuesday show. We might be able to get some more of your comments in that.
Are we having? Yeah, that's right. We are having a Gamer Tuesday, but I believe we may have a guest for both hours.
Well,
so maybe we'll find time somewhere in the middle for that. But yeah, no, the Taken King's taken out and it's still off and going. So if you haven't had a chance to go pick it up, I would highly recommend it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do some computer news. All right. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com.
All right, and yeah, welcome into news. The first news, I know it's Monday, and the weekend should have a lot going on, but I think we're going to go with the most hard-hitting, the most impactful first. And that one is, of course, about Destiny. No, I'm kidding. No, the one that is most impactful and most relevant right now is one that actually almost kept us from doing our show today. And this is one that a lot of websites are having to deal with because as much as we love cloud services, as much as we tout them on the show, as awesome as we say they are, sometimes they do have hiccups. And today is one of the biggest yet. That big one is, and by the way, I'm pulling this from Max and PC, but I can personally give evidence of this. I'm sure millions of people around the world can give, can give some credence to this. Pulling this from Paul Lilly, Max and PC, but pesky Skype bug disrupts service in multiple ways. So first off, if you're trying to connect to Skype and you keep putting your password and you're like, oh, maybe I use a different password. So you put in your second password and then you're like, oh, no, wait, but maybe that wasn't the right password. And you keep going over and over and it won't log you in. Don't worry, it's not you. It's actually Skype. They're having an issue that is, quote, affecting Skype in a number of ways, including the inability to sign into the service. So you can't even get in at all if you logged out since the last time you were on.
Yeah, I tried it. It just it's coming. First of all, it said you're not online and everything, and it was just horrible. Fortunately for us here at Computer America, we have a backup way of tuning into the network, so we can do the live show. So that's proved to be quite effective. But yeah, Skype. And you know, another thing about Skype is that as we transition to the high definition audio, which we're working on, we won't have to really rely on Skype at all.
But Skype is relied upon by millions of users around the world because, hey, traditional landlines, they just aren't a thing anymore, or at least they're on their way out. Yes, they still have certain niche uses, but they, people have more and more often been using voice over IP and other online solutions, including Skype. I know people that have completely done away with their landlines and everything, set up their computer to be their phone number. Like they have a voicemail box, they have a phone number, they can call out from their computer, they can have calls call into their computer. I mean, Skype is a huge service that even millions of thousands of, I don't know the scale of this yet, but thousands of websites are actually run on Skype. It's, this is a huge deal. And it's been happening all day long. So Microsoft noted that a, quote, small number of messages to group chats are not being delivered. And this is, again, due to the fact that, yes, you can't log in, but if you were already logged in when this whole thing happened, you'll still appear online, but then all of your contacts will be offline, and you can't send them anything. And they very well could be. I mean, this bug seems to be keeping people from seeing their list as people they can actually call. So it's a horrible bug, and I believe it's still going on. They will have it up eventually, trademark, but they said
they said that they identified the problem, but that was like 4 hours ago, and they said, "Oh, we're going to get you back up and running." And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful." But so far, even though they've identified where the breakdown is, and that's 95% of the battle is identifying where the breakdown is, and then you can go ahead and deal with the problem. But evidently, not so with Skype. They still have more problems to deal with.
Right. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. And again, this is a service used by millions of people around the world. It's not going to be a quick fix as much as we'd like it to be. So Skype, they also said that Amazon Web Services, and they are a huge series of services, actually went down today as well. But Amazon seems to have their team in order, and they have since restored all of their services.
Well, they said it didn't affect businesses. That was kind of
right. No. The Amazon one affected their back end. So probably something on the internal didn't really disrupt businesses, but Amazon Web Services did have a server issue. So yeah, it's if you're still having problems with Skype, I know I was annoyed because I thought I was entering every single password I've ever entered in the last 12 years. I was like,
who would think it's Skype? It's got to be me.
Exactly. Who could think that this web service that really is now just standard? Skype is an industry standard.
It's like the phone company saying, "Sorry, you can't use your phone. Your phones are down."
How could they say that? Their phones are down.
Yeah, exactly. But they are. Okay. Well, hopefully they'll have it resolved soon, because they have people working on it. It's not uncommon. All right.
No, this very is uncommon.
You're right. It is very uncommon. This is the first time I'm actually aware of Skype actually going down like this on a mass scale.
Yeah, it's just wanted to get that story out there first, because who knows, by the time you're listening to this, even later in the afternoon, it could have been fixed already. But as of the time of this recording and of this live show and of this story, it is still not up.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to Engadget by Richard Lawler has a story. Apple releases the Watch OS 2 to put apps directly on your wrist. So evidently, Apple in their keynote this past one in September announced a new operating system for the Apple Watch, and evidently, it's arriving a few days later than originally anticipated. Okay, but the first big Apple Watch software upgrade is here. Watch OS 2. Now this lets the third-party developers create apps that run directly on the device itself without relying on a connected phone, which is what this sort of reminds me of, Ben. I remember when I first got the iPhone, and the only way you could update it was hooking it to your computer and running iTunes, and then going and then uploading, and now you don't even need that. All my app updates get updated on my phone. Even the operating system in the iPhone will be updated over the air. You don't have to connect anymore. And let me tell you, having that mechanism in place is a wonderful thing. Not having to rely on another mechanism. And from time to time, if I'm sitting at my computer, I will plug my phone into the dock that's there and have it update. But for the most part, I just let the phone do its thing now. And this kind of is sort of like that. So so you don't have to rely, your Apple Watch doesn't have to rely on your iPhone. It can do it standalone. Now this means the apps have access to sensors embedded within the watch itself, and they should run faster and be easier to interact with. You see, that's what I said. If you're going to buy the first generation Apple Watch, be prepared. This is like when you bought the first iPhone. I bought the first iPhone, and although it was really great, it was amazing, everything, compared to what it is now, it was so buggy and so.
But at the same time, the first generation, it's nothing with the hardware. I think they have the hardware pretty much spot on where they want it. And of course, the next generation is going to be smaller, lighter, longer lasting, blah, blah. But the hardware is still pretty good. These are all software updates that if you bought it day one, your watch is just getting better and better.
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously this is so. Some have compared this change, by the way, to the introduction of the App Store on iOS in 2008. But we'll have to see what developers use it for first. Other changes include new customizable watch faces with photo album, and time lapse, plus upgraded Apple Pay and Siri integration. Now, it also has activation lock, so if someone steals your watch, they can't just reset it or easily access your data. That's nice. One thing you'll still need your iPhone for is to actually get the update. Owners can check software update under the watch app to start the download now. So there it is. So, even though they're kind of weaning it off away from the iPhone, they still, for the full experience, you really need to have the phone, along with the watch. Although, again, I like the fact that you're getting more and more standalone apps for this.
Right.
Device.
But I don't think anyone has ever claimed that the Apple Watch will be a replacement for the Apple phone.
No.
Just,
an adjunct to it.
An adjunct.
Okay.
All right. So that's good knowledge. And we could do another app one, but I think we're going to save that one for a little bit later. How about instead we talk about Microsoft?
Yes.
Let's talk about Microsoft, and we're going to talk about how they've been eyeing the competition in so much that they hope, or at least they're predicting something about their competitor. So this is a weird story. This one from Ars Technica, Mr. Kyle Orland. And ever since Sony announced last week that it's finally dropping the Japanese price of its PlayStation 4 by 5,000 yen, or about $40, there's been rampant speculation about whether or not a similar reduction is going to happen around the rest of the world. The rest of the world. There we go.
Yep.
And that there was speculation about that, but at the same time, I think everyone kind of said fat chance. The PlayStation 4 is what the PlayStation 4 is, and what happens in Japan isn't necessarily what's going to happen around the world, because of course these things are produced and kind of founded in Japan, so they can kind of cut some costs. But for shipping costs and all that kind of thing, everyone was kind of saying, the price is what the price is. They can drop it in Japan, but in Europe and the US and South America and all those other markets, it's probably going to stay about $400. But this is according to Microsoft's head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, recently told IGN that the PlayStation will probably come down in price very soon. He says, quote, when I think about the playbook they've used in the past, we feel good about the plans we have in place going forward in the holiday. If history tells, then we'll see a price drop from them coming. Which, again, if you just think about it, a price drop for a 2-year-old, I believe they're about 2 years old by now, for a 2-year-old console, and coming up to the holiday market, you want to make that thing more appealing to more people. And let's face it, PlayStation hasn't been getting a lot of really, really great press going for it. Nothing too bad, but at the same time, it's just kind of, it's kind of resting on its laurels. I think a lot of people are feeling like. So for PlayStation to right now kind of be in the shadow of Xbox, not in sales, mind you, PlayStation still woefully outsells the Xbox, but right now Xbox is getting all the limelight because they're doing a lot of very cool things. So I think if PlayStation wants to get any of that back, and as Phil Spencer said of Xbox, they will undoubtedly drop the price come the holiday season.
All right. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, that's good news if you're planning on buying, because hey, $400, that's not an easy purchase. And hopefully if they drop that down to $350 or even $300 to try to reach some other price point, that could be just the incentive some people were looking for to purchase one. I know that, given the right incentive, a lot of Xbox users would probably want a PlayStation as well, because hey, they're two great consoles. They're both very, very good consoles, and they both have a lot of exclusive content to either one of them. So it's totally worth picking up both of them at this point. It's just that $400 price tag, it's not an easy thing to run out and do.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct on that. There are some people who still want to get both.
Yeah.
And if you already have one, this might actually make it possible to have both.
Yeah, and plus, hey, it's the holidays. You expect deals on gaming platforms and video games to be happening in abundance. That's just what people do. They buy these presents for themselves, for their kids, for their family, for whenever. they buy these things during the holidays. People don't rush out during August and say, man, finally console season is here. Hooray. No, they wait until the holidays. So a price drop only makes sense.
It does. All right. Well, there may be some more happy PlayStation owners in the near future. Okay, Ben and I are doing computer and technology news, brought to you by Slimware Utilities, and this next story is about the Apple Car. This again from Engadget Billy Steele. It says Apple Car targeted to launch in 2019. This according to the Wall Street Journal. And basically, they have an electric car project. They're going to be competing with Tesla and everything, but evidently, the details have been fairly scarce on Apple's rumored electric car project. But there's some new info today, according to the Wall Street Journal. They're accelerating. They're calling it Project Titan, calling it a committed project. Apple is aiming to ship the first vehicle in 2019. Yes, that means we could still see it in our lifetime. Now, what's more interesting, though, is that the report says the first car won't be fully autonomous, despite that type of system being part of the long-term plan. So the latest report also says that Apple will triple its team of 600, which already includes automotive experts. Tim Cook is reportedly moving forward with the project over the years ahead. Apple's into the industry would follow several self-driving car efforts from a number of automakers, including its main tech rival, Google. Okay, but I think it's all good. I don't think just one company should be working on it. Just like we have Ford and GM and the Chrysler, all these cars. Competition's a good thing because then the consumer wins in the end. So if Apple's coming out with a car or a technology, that's all good because it'll just give you more choices.
It's kind of weird though that they of all people would, and by the way, if you remember, they recently picked up the old CEO of, I believe it was Volvo. Mm-hmm. So Apple is bringing on talent to from the car industry to work on their automated car. But it's interesting to see that all of the car manufacturers, they have their own systems running. Like they are working like a lot of the high-end Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and I'm sure there are others that I'm currently drawing a blank on, maybe even Volkswagen. But a lot of the other cars are working on their own form of self-driving. This is clearly the future. The car companies see it from a mile away, so they all want to have their own form of it ready to hit the road as soon as possible. And it's they want it to happen as soon as possible. And of course, whoever can do it first and do it effectively and get all the legislation out of the way and get these self-driving cars at a reasonable price into people's hands, they're going to have more money than they can count. People want this. But the interesting thing is not that, hey, Mercedes-Benz is working on a self-driving car. The interesting thing is that Apple, is that Google, is that I'm sure Amazon with, they're currently still busy with drones, I believe, but I'm sure Amazon's going to get into it. Tech companies, not just car companies, but also tech companies want to get in there as well. They want to be the one to develop the best, the best self-driving system, sure, and sell their product to car manufacturers, because that's another huge chunk of change. Yep. If you can get an Apple self-driving, let's see, what they call it the iCar OS. I don't know. Whoever can get their self-driving car operating system and automation into a car, they stand to make a ton of money. So obviously there's huge buckets of cash somewhere, and tech companies want theirs, car companies want theirs. So we're seeing this blurring of the line of two industries that, admittedly they were getting closer and closer as as time went by. They are, now they're both working together.
Do you think that they're not calling these things the i something? It's not the iWatch, it's the Apple Watch. Do you think they're going to get away from the i? or is this for new?
Well, the I was very reminiscent of Steve Jobs because
Yep.
he was the I CEO. So any products that were developed under his watch were, were the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone, the iMac, all of them developed during the I CEO's tenure.
Mhm.
Now, I guess we're obviously going to see a break because the first product that was released since Steve Jobs passing is now called the Apple Watch, not the iWatch.
And the
So
Apple TV. They're also calling it the
the Apple TV, the Apple Watch, and the Apple Stylus, or whatever the heck they're calling it,
Apple Pencil.
Apple Pencil. There we go. Yeah, no, I guess you're right. The I era is over. Now it's the Apple era.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well. Although some of the products, like the Apple TV, was actually out with Steve Jobs.
Yeah, but he didn't seem to really take kindly to it. Like he, kind of greenlit the project, and the project was sold, but he really didn't, flesh it out into a full service until, Tim Cook came to office, and then, Apple TV. It just recently had a big relaunch, and is really becoming a not bad service. It
Yep.
seemed like to Steve Jobs, he didn't really care one way or the other.
That was just an observation.
So yeah, the Apple but self-driving cars, Apple's working on it, Volvo's working on it, Mercedes is working on it, Google's working on it. Tech companies and car companies alike are working to bring you cars where you can hop in, put in a destination, go to sleep, wake up at your destination. They're working on it.
Yep.
Although it might take a while before I get that comfortable.
Okay. So do we have time to do one more story? Yeah, for the break?
Yeah, we have time. I don't know. There's just so many good ones. How about this one? Virtual reality. Hot topic recently.
Yeah.
And we have this one, a new contender, kind of. And this one's called John. This is from Engadget and Devendra Hardawar. And Jaunt gets a ton of real money to build cinematic virtual reality. So, with all the buzz of around virtual reality hardware like Oculus and HTC and all the other ones, we still need immersive content to make those gadgets worthwhile. And that is what Jaunt is focused on with its cinematic VR platform, which consists of 360-degree camera and tools for editing and creating virtual reality experiences. Jaunt is getting a huge vote of confidence from Disney and other investors to the tune of $65 million.
Wow.
Man, good on them. So while it's not the only company focused on creating cinema-like content for the new virtual medium, of where Story Studio is partnering with Oculus to get their stuff out, the extra infusion of cash should help Jaunt bring its platform to life quicker. So don't be surprised if you hear more about virtual reality content over the next year. This year it became clear that virtual reality could be viable for consumers, but come next year we'll need more than just cool demos for VR to take off. And Craig, what do you think?
I sound like I'm repeating myself. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. No, what I said about Apple, the car. I said the more competitors there are in the industry, the people who are the winners are the consumers. And this is another example of that. I mean, obviously we've got Oculus Rift, and we've got the HTC, we've got Google with their cardboard, and so I would think we should welcome yet another one. My only concern here, Ben, is that will we need standardization, or are we it's sort of like the Xbox and PlayStation? Never the two will meet. But if you buy an Oculus, you're going to have to just use things that work with the Oculus, and that won't work with anything else. Or
that's not what these guys are going for at all, though. That's like saying we need standardization in the in the movie sector. Like, yeah, sure, there's Blu-ray and DVD and streaming, but at the same time, they're all video files. Yeah. And that is exactly what's going to play on all these. Regardless if you have an HTC, a Razer, an HTC, whatever you have, they're all just going to play video files.
All right.
And they have to be shot in a very specific format, 360-degree camera. By the way, we just had, I want to say Nokia?
Yeah.
Craig?
We didn't have Nokia on the show.
Who was the guest we just had on last Friday?
Oh, I can tell you. That would have been...
We just had a company on that made a camera specifically for
Kodak.
shooting
Kodak.
360-degree...
Kodak.
Kodak. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, we just had Kodak on showing off their new action camera that could actually shoot video in 360-degree views.
Yeah, JK Imaging was in the company.
Right. JK Imaging.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously things like that, that's for YouTubers and for other people to make 3D, or not even 3D, 360-degree content. But now these companies are going to try to bring cinema, as in, big immersive pictures and movies and things like that, to virtual reality. Sure, you can shoot on an action camera for a couple $100 and you can be off to the races on YouTube. But to actually get something where people are going to sit down and kind of say, all right, here's a movie, and you can only watch it on a virtual reality headset. That's what they're trying to create. They're trying to create content that is going to make people go down to the store, buy one because they have to have it because they want to see that content. Right now, there just really isn't that. There is no content.
Well, all right. And I'm looking forward to the content, as I know you are. Hey, we got our first break. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are going to continue doing computer technology news. We got another News Tips Spills review, a brand new one coming up your way. We'll be right back.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
And make it 350 for 25 minutes. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, a 24-port gigabit switch from TrentNet with PoE+. That's a flavor of power over Ethernet. So the same cable the networks also powers that supports devices that need a little more power, but even better, it more tightly constrains the delivered voltage range, which can mean more operational stability. With 24 ports and a total 370-watt power allowance, it handles everything. One little bit of a bother with this unit is that taming that power supply in a 1U rack mount means it has a fan that sounds a little bit like a hairdryer motor, but that's a tiny trade-off. Bottom line, the TrentNet TPE TG240G 24-port PoE plus gigabit switch is a one-piece solution to 24 needs. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We are doing computer and technology news brought to you by Slimmer Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. They make a lot of great products. You should go check them out to keep any computer running fast and free. It's, very, very powerful stuff. And we know a lot of people who actually do this for a living, and they keep that software around just to make sure that their clients' computers are running fast. So, definitely go check it out. Before we get back to the news, though, I do want to give a quick shout out. He doesn't get enough attention here, or at least enough love on the show here, but he does a great job. You should go check him out. If you have any interaction with the Computer America Twitter account, that is our good friend Fort. He, when back when we had a chat room, he was the moderator of our chat room, but he is still going strong over on our Twitter account. Putting out new tweets, showing show times, sending out links, showing you guests on Twitter, doing a lot of great stuff. And I just want, we haven't mentioned it, and I feel remiss. So yeah, just want to say thank you for it, and definitely go check out his work over at the official Computer America Twitter account.
Yes, thank you so much for it. We really do appreciate that. It's been a while. Yeah,
sure that. So getting back to the computer and technology news, let's go on to the next one. And Craig
I have it.
Oh, okay, and Craig has it.
And this is again from a gadget. I thought this is so slick, really. There's an app that turns your smartphone into a baseball speed detector. I mean,
that's useful to some people.
They've got an app for everything, it looks like. If you want to know if your baseball team's pitching skills are up to snuff without carrying a dedicated and frequently not so smart speed detector, right? Well, Scouty might have something that's perfect for you. It's a crowdfunding. It's a baseball radar peripheral that turns an Android phone and iPhones into pitch speed detectors. You plunk the device in the right place, including on the back of your phone if you like, and it'll tell you just how quick that fastball really was. You can not only add notes, but record video with a speed overlay. You'll know whether or not that curveball was slow from the start. That is so cool. Now, the gadget is not going to be cheap. Hey, what is? But you can get a good deal if you pledge during the Kickstarter campaign. It takes as little as $129. Normally it's $149 to $169 to get a Scouty versus waiting for the real launch, when it'll cost $299 to see how fast that ball is being thrown. Now, you'll ideally get your device in April, just in time for those early spring games. Now, of course, this isn't a trivial expense no matter what you pay, but the crowdfunding price is just low enough that it may make sense if your kid's Little League team needs a tune-up. And there it is. It looks it's a little device. It attaches to the back of the phone. I would have liked it if they just used what was built into the phone, just have an app. But evidently they can't do that.
I don't think it's that sense. As great as the camera is, and as great as the motion, I'm sure facial recognition tracking, that kind of thing. I don't think they have the specific hardware that you need built into a phone.
So you put this on the back of your phone, and there you go. And again, it's from Scouty. Scouty. I don't know if they have a name for the product. I guess that's it.
Well, no, it should be called Scouty.
Yep, Scouty. So if you're looking to track the speed of a baseball, there you go.
Thank goodness for Kickstarter. So many cool little projects come out, and if they really do resonate with people, they go viral, they share it with their friends, they pledge, they buy the product before it's even made. And yes, it does bite them in the butt sometimes. And yes, that is unfortunate. At the same time, though, a lot of people, I think, are getting to start companies that otherwise they would have had to, beg and plead from venture capitalists. And instead, they're taking to the crowd. So many cool products are just coming out from that.
Yep, that's very true. This is very innovative. It's very novel, and certainly it's going to be a lot better than you ever seen lugging around one of those radar guns. I mean, they are. It looks like a gun. First of all, they're relatively heavy, bulky. Now you can just clip this to the back of your smartphone, and you're done. And you get a lot more functionality too. So with the radar guns, you can take integrated videos with the speed superimposed. You can't do that with a radar gun.
Right.
You can't save it. You can't save the videos. You can't record them. You can't add any kind of notes, to it either. I mean, it just gives you the speed. It's pretty dumb. That's all it does. With the smartphone and this device, you can track it. You can upload the video, to wherever you want to. You can email it. I mean, it's I think it's very, very slick, really. And the display looks nice too. This display is really easy to see. It's got a huge, number with a little curve, so you can see the speed of the ball. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. I won't say that I want one, but I'm glad that something like this exists and that they can make it exist. And it's, very, very, very nice to bring to a baseball game. Even if you're just a coach, something like this, if you're a coach for like a little league team or high school baseball team, you really didn't have a tool like this before on the market that didn't cost you an arm and a leg, and odds are you weren't going to go buy it. So this is probably going to help a lot of coaches too in high school. It's, nice democratization. There we go. Of technology. I like it.
Somebody just threw a baseball at 82 miles an hour. That's pretty good according to this picture.
That's not bad. I mean, the only thing I have to go off is Major League, and I believe they throw at mid to high 90s.
Yeah.
So 80 is not bad. Faster than I can throw.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. This next story, since we've been talking so much about Apple, we're going to keep talking about Apple.
Okay.
And this one is actually about a spy agency that will make you rich. If, and only if, you find a way to hack the iPhone.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, this one is from Wired, and Andy Greenberg mentioned this. And as long as hackers have sold their secret hacking techniques known as zero-day exploits to government spies, they've generally kept the trade in the shadows. Very true. So today it's come to spotlight that the biggest bounty ever publicly offered for a single such exploit, $1 million for a technique that can break into an iPhone or iPad running Apple's freshly released iOS 9. I think everyone can kind of see the benefit that a spy agency would have, or at least a spy agency contractor, blah, blah, blah. I think everyone can see the benefit of having a zero-day exploit, something that has no defense for, because, obviously 0 day means that it hasn't been out in the wild yet. It's been unutilized. Yep. And if it hasn't been used yet, then that means, hey, you can't write software to patch up the hole. So having these 0 day exploits in the pocket kind of means that if they really, really, really wanted to get into a specific phone or tablet or any kind of data stored on those devices, having a couple of those lying around makes all the sense in the world. No way to defend against it, and you're guaranteed to get in. And hey, $1 million could be chump change compared to just what you could stand to gain from it.
Yeah.
And yes, it does sound a little seedy, a little crime organization, syndicate-y, but at the same time, hey, spy people have to eat too, and this is just their business.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I never quite have thought of it that way. Spy people have to eat, but
spy people have to eat too. They can't go around not hacking, I guess. So and they have a quote here, due to the increasing number of security improvements and effectiveness of exploit mitigations in place, Apple's iOS is currently the most secure mobile OS. This from Zero Diem, who is, by the way, offering the prize if you want to go claim it. Mm-hmm. But don't be fooled. Secure does not mean unbreakable. It just means that iOS is currently the highest cost and complexity of vulnerability exploitation. And here's why the $1 million iOS 9 bug bounty comes into play. Why? Makes sense. Since it is the most secure, it is the hardest. And since it's the hardest, it means that it is worth the most if you can finally get and find a way around it. So yeah, they have a quote here. Zero Diem's main goal is to capture the most advanced zero-day exploits and the high-risk vulnerabilities which are discovered, held, or sometimes stockpiled by talented researchers around the globe. Makes sense.
Yeah.
He wants to know all of them. So yeah, and the article kind of goes on here for a while, but we're not going to get into all the background. Just suffice to say, if you know of a 0-day exploit, and trust me, it's not easy to know. You're not just going to stumble upon it. I think a lot of people who have a lot of very technical degrees are working on just this kind of thing all day long. By the way, these kinds of people, they are employed by Apple. They have a team of people who sit around all day trying to figure out ways to break into Apple's own systems.
Yeah, well, that's the best way to do it, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's white hat hacking. We have our friend over Charles Sandell, who he does it for a living for other companies. It's a very, very noble profession, and these guys are just kind of on the fence there. That they want to collect as many 0 days as they can, just to have record of them. So they say.
But now they're gonna have $1 million if they break this one.
Whoever breaks it gets $1 million. Zero Diem has much more money, and I'm sure they will offer $1 million to anyone who can offer them as many 0-day exploits as possible. So, if you're looking how to make your first $1 million, there you go. Go hack into an iPhone.
All right, there you go. All right, I think we have time to. Yeah, we do have time. This next story from Engadget, as if you fly in the U.S., most of us know today that in-flight Wi-Fi has become pretty common. Okay.
But it's so expensive.
Yes, it is. But obviously, you won't use it to watch movies or who knows, to download, whatever. But if you can always write it off as a business expense if you need to stay in touch at a decent speed, in-flight Wi-Fi. It's like the telephones, they had in planes. Remember, they had phones in planes, and they were so costly. But hey,
what?
They used to have telephones in planes.
What year was this?
Yeah, they did. Well, now they have Wi-Fi.
How did the planes? I mean, you got that wire hanging from the bottom of the plane.
No.
I'm sure if one plane flew under the other, it would catch the wire.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be a mess.
Yeah, it would. Anyway, evidently
It would probably save on fuel though, because the plane would leave, let's say, Dallas, Texas, and then it would fly to wherever it would, and then instead of spending the fuel to fly back, they could just pull the cord and kind of fishing rod the plane back in. I like that though. I like that.
Okay. Well, anyway, this connectivity in Europe has been a little harder to come by, but that's evidently going to change because they have a new joint venture between UK satellite company Inmarsat and Deutsche Telekom. Okay. So the two companies announced today that the launch of the European Aviation Network, which is a new framework that combines LTE and satellite networks to deliver high-speed internet across the continent. The network will still work a lot like Gogo's air-to-ground service. Okay, the satellites rely on Inmarsat's S-band spectrum, which covers all 28 European Union member states. Okay, but Deutsche Telekom, on the other hand, will utilize 300 specifically modified LTE sites that range up to 80 kilometers from each. The normal masts offer around 10 kilometers and can officially deal with the speed of a plane traveling at 10,000 feet. Okay. While British Airways was believed to be in early talks to be a launch customer, Lufthansa evidently will be the first European airline to trial the European Aviation Network system in 2017. So this is a little bit a ways away yet.
2017. And you think it wouldn't be,
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that they would have Wi-Fi everywhere pretty much licked. But I guess, 2017, this comes online. And by the year, 2025? I think Elon Musk wants to give internet to everyone everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And that will be a good thing.
Well, no. I'm sorry. Elon Musk said 5 years, didn't he? So by 2020, he wants to have those 4,000 satellites up in space in low Earth orbit, beaming internet to everyone.
Yeah. All right. So that's obviously more timely, but
Well, less timely. 2020 as opposed to 2017.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. For that's the
Sometimes it's Greg. Sometimes I think you don't follow me.
internet for everyone. No, I understand that. 2020. All right. So oh, that's fine. Okay, so you have the next story.
Yeah. Well, while Craig is distracted by whatever he's distracted by, how about something to distract your dog? And anyone out there, and by the way, this might just segue nicely into the next hour, but this is going to be a pretty cute, short, quick story. This one from CNET, and it seems like a pretty good idea. Where this is actually the author of Amanda Kuzer, and not all dogs are natural supermodels. If you should know this, because they're very selfies are very popular. People like taking selfies, and people like taking selfies with dogs. And yes, I admit I've done it myself, and my dog is still wondering why I look at this square object all day long. There's no scent to it. There's nothing to pee on it. It's just a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And the dog doesn't really understand that. So this next story is all about how to get your dog to take a good selfie. So yeah, it's trying to take a selfie with your dog is more than likely to look off to the side or look at something else or just stare at a rock on the sidewalk. It's the dog is so uninterested in what you're holding that it could care less to actually look at the camera, let alone do anything cute.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a new Kickstarter item called Pooch Selfie, just launched. And if you ever feel like getting a good selfie picture of your dog, this may be just what you're looking for. By the way, it's very, very pretty new. It's only been up for about a week. Still a couple thousand short of its intended goal of $7,000. But the idea is pretty cute in that you have a phone, and assuming you have a dog that is attracted to tennis balls, this is a phone mount that clips onto your phone, and it has a plastic kind of 3-fingered cup to hold the tennis ball. So assuming you get your dog's attention with the tennis ball, put the tennis ball in the cup that then is perched precariously on top of your cell phone, and the dog then stares down the tennis ball, which is just the right angle, just the perfect thing you need to take a canine selfie. The dog's attention will be fully engaged on the cell phone.
That's very clever.
And there you go.
Yeah.
It's just looking at the Kickstarter, since it seems to be just plastic, it doesn't nothing really too technical about this one. Clips onto your phone, holds tennis ball. That's it. Not a lot of real high-end gadgetry involved.
Mm-hmm.
You can get one. You can actually get one of these. Let's see, they call them Pooch Selfie, and you can get one for $7 if you go over to Kickstarter right now. And they have some for $10, they have some for $7, and they have some for $13 if depending on when you get there and how many are left available. But yeah, it's a very, very simple, but I think kind of fun thing to do if you're interested in getting your dog a selfie.
A pooch selfie. Very,
A
very,
pooch selfie.
very clever. Very, very clever. This next story reminds me of the James Bond movie, the original with Sean Connery. I think it was Thunderball. They had a tracking device. Q came up with a tracking device, and it looked like about the size of a pill. And James says, "So where do I hide this thing?" And Q looks, says, "You swallow it." So it was a tracking device that he was swallowing.
See, now that story could have gone two ways, because there are two ways to put a pill into your body.
Yeah. Right. Orally or the other way.
There you go.
So anyway, this is according to Popular Science. These are ingestible gadgets with batteries that you can actually eat as a non-toxic way to use swallowable medical devices. And evidently, according to the story, Today, implanted medical devices continuously monitor the body to give doctors and researchers more information than ever about the state of a patient's disease and the effects of certain treatments. And that's got, because if you go into a doctor's office and they take a test on you, it's a snapshot at best. For that moment, you might be, then 5 minutes later, you go out, you might have a totally different reading. So you need to have something that's constantly monitoring what it is you're doing. And usually you wear them. There's shoulder straps. You wear the thing over your shoulder, or they clip to your belt as it gets smaller. But basically, wouldn't it be nice if you could just swallow it? And then basically, then there's no risky surgery or another invasive procedures. Basically, you would just monitor the conditions inside your body or release drugs. And once they've done their job, they pass through your body without harming it. I guess just poop them out. So
way to be classy, Craig. I like that.
Well, some devices are on the market today. Okay. One of the biggest technological impediments to these devices is finding a non-toxic power source. There we are, the old battery conundrum. They just don't last long enough. So the best solution might be to create a battery that uses the unique chemical environment inside the body to function, and to construct the battery using metals that the body already needs. Okay. I mean, I've seen, batteries that work off of water, and they say, I've seen, and they run a little clock or something. So it's certainly
hydrogen fuel cells, nuclear energy, atomic decay.
Well, you don't want that.
There's a lot of weird stuff.
Yeah, you don't want that in your body, though.
True. Yeah, I'm actually kind of hesitant to turn this video, this portion of the video, into not safe for work, because there is an animated GIF of, I don't know, Craig. I think you're gonna have to make the call on this one. Is a video of the inside of a colon safe for work? I mean, it's not pleasant to look at. Obviously, it's not a meadow with flowers in it or my face, but I don't know. Caution.
Yeah. They do. Well, obviously, these gadgets carry their own risks. They could get stuck. They could cause an intestinal blockage. They could break and leak toxic chemicals in the body. But I think for the most part, I don't think those are going to be major concerns. First of all, it looks like a capsule. Yeah,
it's not too big, so even if it did get stuck somewhere and break apart, people get shot and they live, and this thing looks smaller than a bullet. It's it's probably not going to end you.
No, not at all. So evidently, they're saying that they can make these out of biodegradable metals that the body already needs, like magnesium, calcium, and sodium. That could be biodegradable in the body. But the new power source is the real challenge here. Okay.
Right.
That's it. He says there's many rapid advances in materials, inventions, and discoveries, but they say these devices can be tested in patients within the next 5 to 10 years. So
I can't wait to see myself from an angle that I've never seen myself from.
Yeah.
My digestive tract.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to see all the cheeseburgers I've ever eaten.
Yeah. Then you would be in a medical conundrum if you had to do that.
There'd be thousands. There'd be thousands. All right. So, we only have like another 2 minutes. I'm not sure if we even have enough time for another one. There's one story here I really wanted to get into because I myself am actually kind of fuzzy on the actual implications behind these new. Because I've seen the little logo come up on my iPhone. I've yet to really understand what it is. All I know is that everything seems much, much more saturated. But HDR. They've been in the iPhone camera for a while now, and other cameras, and I'm sure other smartphones and other cameras have them as well. But HDR for television and why you should care. So it's high dynamic range, and they're being put into televisions, is here, and so is the first HDR content with more of both on the way. Is this the next generation technology? Is it worth getting into or getting into your TV? So I've always been kind of fuzzy on just exactly what HDR is and what it means for cameras and picture quality and all that kind of thing. So, this is an article from over at CNET, and you should definitely go check this out because I don't think we have time to do it here on the show.
Okay. Again, I'm distracted.
Very clearly. So, yeah, go check that out. But otherwise, we, I think, are about done with computer and technology news for the moment. And we have our next guest waiting in the wings who we'll bring on in the next hour. But thanks so much for listening to all of the news stories. We have relevant links. You can always go back to our video. We had everything displayed up on the video with links, names, and what website we pulled it from and all that kind of good stuff. And by the way, if any of you out there have a news story or product or any other kind of content that you would like us to talk about, feel free to drop us a line over at our email, over at Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Just find some way to get whatever you want us to talk about to us through any social media platform, and we will actually take some time out of our day and discuss things that you would like to discuss.
All right, and so as I said, we're going to now our next guest is going to be coming from is actually the CMO for MyRescueDog, and basically we're going to be talking about the .dog domain, because so many domains now you're not limited to .com, .gov, .org, and now we can have things like .dog.
Yeah, Google had that huge announcement about their alphabet.xyz.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm sorry, .abc, I believe.
Yeah.
Or abc.xyz. That's what it was.
All right, so again, we're going to take a break here, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We're going to take a fast break. We'll have another News Tips Bulletin review coming up as well, a brand new one. It's Monday on Computer America. We will be right back.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And if you missed any part of the Computer America Show, the first hour, you certainly can listen to it again. We archive all of our shows at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the archives menu. It's in our pull-down menu. Select that, and you can see all the different places you can listen to the Computer America Show, either on Apple's iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. They all carry the archives, Blog Talk Radio Network, and you can listen to it again, over and over again if you like. So we make that all available. So again, it's Hour 2 here of the show, and here on a Monday. And again, we're in our brand new time slot, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And we look forward to bringing you the show live. Obviously you can listen to the show archived, but it's so much more fun when you do it live. You're here with us live. We like to do that. You can interact with us. You can call us, 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Of course, you can submit a question from any page at our Computer America website. In the upper right-hand corner, it says Submit a Question. You can do that. And, of course, watch us on our live video stream. Let's go to the show lounge and watch the show. So, before we get started with our second hour guest, Ben, anything else you want to mention? Again, have you checked Skype, by the way? Is Skype up and running yet? I'm just kind of curious if they fixed it.
Well, I don't think I remember my password, but
okay.
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
I don't believe it is.
I just launched it, and I'm not seeing it. Let me see if we change the status to online, and nope, it's still not fixed. Skype is still.
It really is a very, very big problem. I mean, a lot of people rely on Skype exclusively as a phone provider, and it's a very, very uncommon thing to happen. So glad we got to cover it, but at the same time, very, very unhappy that is actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeesh. But no, the other thing I wanted to mention was, of course, Stitcher. Go follow us on Stitcher. It's one of the best ways to get us on a mobile platform, be it your phones, your tablets, whatever, anything mobile. They have a great app to find not just our content, but a lot of other really, really great content. And go find us on Stitcher. Go find us on SoundCloud. I promise we'll have SoundCloud updated for you today. And other than that, no, I think we have discussed a lot so far, and we still have a whole another hour to go.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to this next guest here. Because as I mentioned, there have been so many new domain names now, other than .com and .org and .biz. Now they have anything with a 3-letter word. You can now basically get. I don't think there's any limitation. I think it's only 3 letters. You can really.
It's not even 3 letters. I think you can go longer than 3 letters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's invite our guest on here now. But, I remember. All right. Yes, it's that.
That's Zach.
We're gonna talk about what this .dog domain is all about. Now, whether you represent a nationwide shelter network, a pup-centric startup, or hey, listen, if you just love dogs, adding .dog to your website's URL can make a big difference. We say they're definitely barking up the right tree. Okay, now joining us is Jeff Davidoff. Jeff is the CMO for MyRescueDog. Jeff, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
Hi, Craig. I'm well. Happy to be here.
Hi, and
thanks for joining us.
Thank you. So tell us about what is MyRescue.dog. What is it?
So MyRescue.dog is a site that we built out to, first and foremost, draw attention to the rescue dog community. Every day across America, Craig, there's hundreds of shelters that are doing great life-saving work, saving dogs. But not surprisingly, they don't all have the resources they need. So we put together the site MyRescue.dog together with our friends at Pet Finder Foundation to help raise awareness of the needs for these shelters and help raise some money for them. And the process is actually pretty simple. If you go to the site, that's myrescue.dog, not .com, and you post a picture of your rescue dog, it triggers a $10 donation. And if you simply go and just vote for your favorite dog, that triggers a $1 donation. And we're trying to raise $100,000 for these needy shelters.
All right. So what is Donuts Incorporated?
So I'm actually the CMO for Donuts Inc. And Donuts is the single world's largest owner and operator of what we call .com options. So as you very rightly pointed out before I came on, now there's literally hundreds of new .com choices. Everything from .coffee to .florist to .photography, and in this case to .dog. So one of the things we wanted to do was draw attention to .dog as one of the great new examples of ways that you can name a domain.
So Ben was right. You're not limited. We're not limited anymore to 3 letters for the domain name.
No, there's actually 600 new what we call .com options, and Donuts owns and operates about 200 of them. And no, it isn't at all limited to 3 letters. It's interesting. I mentioned .photography. You might think, gosh, who would want a .photography? It's such a long word. But what we're finding is digital photographers think of themselves as photographers, and they are really buying up .photography sites. They don't want to say, I'm in the pictures business. They want to say, I'm in the photography business.
Well, if I was one of those people, I would elect for .photo rather than .photography.
It's interesting. What we see is we also own .photos. Amateur photographers are using photos, and professional photographers are using .photography. Something for everybody.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, pretty much you can use any word, and there's no limitation on to the number. I remember, obviously, with .com, in the early days, there were plenty to go around, but people started running out of words to something .com, and cyber squatters kind of came onto the scene. That would buy up, Coca-Cola.com, and so when Coca-Cola wanted to get the registered, they had a problem. Of course, then it got in the courts, it got battled out. So basically, Coca-Cola, it's their name, and you couldn't cyber squat on their website, and they had the lawyers to prove it. But But we're not now that anybody can pretty much have anything. We're seeing less, if any, of that today. You can probably get any website you want.
Yeah, there's so much more choice and variety now. You know, we like to think that these new .com options are more meaningful, memorable, and, as you mentioned, available than their .com counterparts.
Right. So now you mentioned your project here. It has to do with this donation.
Exactly. So we wanted to draw attention to .dog, and we thought, what better way to do it than to put up a site that's actually going to help rescue dogs across the country. I must admit, I myself am a rescue dog owner, so I've got a soft spot in my heart for them, and we're really excited about the take-up. In the first 3 weeks of the program, there's over 15,000 pictures of dogs posted. It's really been stunning.
I can
15,001.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We also have rescue dogs here in our household.
Too many sometimes, but yeah.
We have 5 dogs that are all rescue dogs, and so we certainly empathize with and commend what it is that you're doing.
Okay.
Is there an ultimate goal for your project?
Yeah, there's 2 ultimate goals. The first and foremost one is to help raise that $100,000 and get that money in the hands of needy shelters. And the second is the conversation we've been having, which is let people know that you don't have to just settle for .com anymore, and that there's all these great new choices out there, of which .dog is one.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the Pet Finder Foundation's role in all of this.
Pet Finder Foundation is really a fantastic organization. They're a 501c3, and at the end of the day, the money we raise needs to be channeled to the winning shelters. And we thought, who better to partner with than an organization that works with those shelters every day? The Pet Finder Foundation exists to make grants to shelters across America. So they're already deeply ingrained in the community and are highly credible in that community. And we thought, gosh, they'd be the best possible partner for us.
Okay. And how's that working out for you?
It's fantastic. They are not surprisingly a wonderful group of people. I think that the effort itself is more credible within the community because of their efforts. And as I said, I'm overwhelmed with the response. I was checking this morning on Alexa to see the rating of MyRescueDog. Of all the sites in America, and I can only imagine, maybe there's 30 or 40 or 50 million live sites in the U.S., this site is ranked number 13,600.
That's congratulations.
Yeah, we must be doing something right. And I think what it taps into is just like the conversation we're having here. I'm a dog lover, you're a dog lover, and what we know is we're passionate about it. And one of the things that's great about these .coms is they let you express your passion in a way that you really couldn't before.
So how many dogs do you have currently on the website?
I think the number as of this morning is over 15,000.
That's a lot of dogs.
That is a lot of dogs. I'd encourage you to check it out. It is an amazing array of pictures, and there's also fantastic stories up there. It's really wonderful.
Oh no, I mean, having a dog, a pet, is just amazing. So we have 5 of them of our own here, and it's hard to envision what my life would be without them. You know, so and this just allows people.
But at the same time, like having a dog is great, rescuing a dog is even better, and supporting a shelter is even better than that. But at the same time, it seems like they're like, we're glad that you're doing this because we've been to a number of shelters and we help a number of shelters here, but there never seems to be enough resources to go around.
True enough. True enough. That's exactly right, Ben.
So now you have over 15,000 dogs. But now, these are from different organizations. I mean, if I have an organization, how do I get involved with what it is that you're doing?
So the process is very simple. You post a picture of your own rescue dog, and as part of creating the profile for that dog, you put down the shelter that you got the dog from, or if you didn't get it from a shelter you'd like to get the support. And we tally votes. At the end of the program on September 26th, we're going to count up all the votes. The dog that gets the most votes, the shelter associated with that dog will win $25,000. And the next 15 top vote getters, those shelters will each get $5,000.
Yeah, we have one that does. We promote here as one called Brother Wolf. They're in North Carolina, and that's where we got most of our rescue dogs. And there's even a spot on the show where what we do. I'm wondering if how do they find out about you? If you know, how do they go? How do you reach out to them?
Are
Obviously,
you doing completely word of mouth? Because obviously you've tied in with Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. It seems like a very social platform. Is this all word of mouth so far?
We did a lot of PR at the beginning of it, largely word of mouth, a lot of social media. And what we're finding now is the shelters who have a chance to win these prizes have really extensive social networks, and they're doing a fantastic job reaching out to folks in their communities. And that's why we're not seeing traffic lag at all. Traffic is literally increasing every day as we're approaching the 26th.
so how many votes have been cast?
That's top secret for right now. We'll reveal that. We'll reveal that after the end of voting on the 26th. I will say it is a staggering number.
Can you give us a ballpark?
I got that. Top secret. You have to come back in a week.
All right. Well, we'll do. September 26th, by the way, which is my birthday, so that's an appropriate day. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And also glad to see here that you, the Pet Finder Foundation, like, I have used their services to look for dogs, and they're great. So how, what would you say your partnership with them would be? Are you an offshoot of Pet Finder, or how are you associated?
No, we're completely independent, and we don't have any particular history in the dog or in the rescue dog community, which is why we thought it was so important to reach out to an organization that did. And when we looked at the landscape, we were so impressed with Pet Finder Foundation and the quality of their work and the history of their work that we thought they'd be the best possible choice for us to partner with.
Definitely a good choice.
yeah, they are. Now, are there adoptable dogs on the website itself?
There are links for you to both adopt a dog, and also if you wanted to make a donation directly to Pet Finder Foundation, there's a link for you to do that as well.
Okay.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't also say there's a link for you to buy your own .dog domain, should you care.
Well, is this go to the fact that I mean, why is it important to adopt dogs, let's say, from a shelter or a rescue, as opposed to going into a store? I already know the answer to this, but I want you to talk about it.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Oh, why is it important to adopt dogs from shelters or rescues? And not
my goodness, America is full of abandoned dogs, and it is an incredible, terrible thing. And what's great is that there's lots of generous people out there who want to give those dogs a home. But finding the dog is not the easiest thing in the world. So that's why these shelters work so hard to find these dogs and to keep them healthy. And anything that we can do to help connect people who want to provide them a home with these lonesome dogs, we think that's a worthwhile effort.
Absolutely. I mean, I've never quite understood where you go into a pet store. I mean, I understand people are trying to make a living, but you go into I would say, sell the pet accessories and not the pets themselves. I think that's what we really need to get. I mean, you go into a pet store, and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for a quote-unquote pedigree dog.
Was it Arizona or New Mexico that recently passed a law saying all animals in pet stores have to come from a shelter?
That's a great law.
Yeah.
That would work. That works for me. Because, I mean, how many people are going to quote-unquote take the dog to a dog show and show them off? I mean, they're pets, and I can't see any reason why you would spend money at a pet store to buy a dog when there's so many great dogs out there already. And we're talking from puppies to early to even older dogs. I mean, if you don't want to have to go through the hassle of housebreaking the dog, everything, you can get a dog that's already housebroken at your animal rescue or shelter.
Actually, I have a question for our guest, and obviously the stories haven't ended yet and that kind of thing. During this interview, for anyone watching our video, I just recently added, 2 of our dogs here. I don't have pictures handy of our other 2 that we rescued, but have you, just as a personal experience, because again, not closed yet, another 5 days, do you have any personal favorite stories that you've heard so far?
Oh my gosh, the stories are amazing about a dog that survived a fall in a river. You have dogs that survive terrible automobile accidents. But to me, the stories that are most touching are not just the dog survival stories, but how bringing these dogs into people's homes changed their lives. It is that sort of that classic question of like, who rescued whom?
Right.
But I'd encourage you to spend some time. The stories in here are just amazing, and you can just feel the passion. It's really turned out to be a beautiful project.
Yeah, exactly. You wonder who's rescuing who.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any favorite dogs on your site that you'd like to talk about?
I don't want to pick out any favorites because I don't want to skew any viewing, any voting. But I do want to say, please go and take a look and cast your vote. You can vote up to 10 times a day, and each one of those votes will generate a $1 donation, all trying to help us get to that $100,000 mark.
Now, when you say generate the $1 donation, that comes from where?
That comes from donuts.
Oh, okay, all right. So,
and that will go to Pet Finder Foundation, who will in turn award it to the winning shelters.
okay.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
There's so many dogs. Oh my God.
Look at them.
And by the way, that's another common misconception that I think we should probably put out there, is that I think a lot of people, when they think of rescue dogs, they think of the whole in the arms of the angel commercials and that kind of thing, and all those dogs are so ragged and so heartbreakingly neglected. Just going through the pictures here, and a lot of people seem to be putting their dogs best formal pictures up. You can get any kind of dog, any good-looking dog. It doesn't have to be one that was, look like it got hit by 3 tractors in a row. No, there are plenty of, just normal, happy, good-looking dogs that are surrendered for one reason or another. So, they're not just rejects over there that need to be rescued. There are all kinds.
Absolutely, and I think you'll be surprised how many dogs wear clothes nowadays.
What is up with that? Why,
Craig?
I do not know.
Greg, you have 3 dogs, and I know one of them at least wears a sweater almost constantly. What do you mean, Craig?
That's not a sweater. That's a thunder shirt.
Okay.
That's a whole different thing. One of our dogs is a little afraid of thunder, and we put this tight-fitting thing called the thunder shirt on it, and then she doesn't freak out. And yes, it's fashionable. It looks nice on her, but we're gonna get enough fat. But it's still a thunder shirt, But that's not to say that we can't put a little hat on them or have a fancy collar. And there's certainly all that. That's part of the fun of owning a pet. It's just I think you got doggles for your dog, right? You got
yeah. So how closely and I went through the whole process, and you can share your dog and stuff like that on Facebook and Twitter, share your dog story and that kind of thing. How are you seeing social media kind of playing into this whole thing? Because having the .dog website is one thing, but you're still taking to traditional Facebook and Twitter and other social media. How's that?
Yeah, social media it's a great question. It's working in a couple of ways. One is you'll see the process you just went through when you post your dog's profile. There's a chance for you to then share that on Facebook. Mm-hmm. We're finding that 70 to 75% of the traffic that keeps coming in, and as I said earlier, the numbers keep going up, is coming from Facebook. That's amazing. And then you'll also see some of these dogs are celebrities in and of themselves. So we've got some sort of like famous dogs on there. We have a dog on there called Tuna, who has like 3 million followers on Instagram. And I will say, Tuna is crushing it.
Now, if we can only find another dog named Mayo, we'll be all set. I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I noticed you make the voting process easier. With each picture, you have a little heart in the upper right-hand corner of the picture, and you just click on that, right? And that,
exactly.
So you can keep track, because there's so many dogs, you're going to forget. So that you can click the ones that you like on the first pass, and then I assume, can you look at them? Can you consolidate those? How does that work?
You get a chance to vote 10 times each day. Each click on one of those hearts is a vote, and we keep track of it. And when you've hit 10 for the day, we let you know. It's actually a 24-hour period. So if you came back 24 hours after your last vote, you'll be able to vote again. Okay. It is a little addictive, I will admit.
Yeah, I mean,
seeing all these awesome mugshots of everyone's rescue dog. I mean, this one right here, Ollie Boy. I'm gonna hope that he wins, because that is a face. Oh, that is a face. Good for Ollie Boy. Vote for him. Yep.
That's a cute dog.
A little addictive. I will agree.
Yeah.
I must admit that in my office, this is the productivity killer.
You're site checking. It's fine.
Thank you.
So Jeff, what's talk a little bit about the future. Where would you like to see MyRescueDog? In the next few months and next year.
No, I think that after we close down the voting, there's so much rich content in here in terms of not only the pictures, but in terms of the stories. And we were talking just earlier with our friends from Pet Finder Foundation about ways that we could maybe package up and consolidate this as maybe some kind of holiday gift or holiday present that also might be a way to raise a little more money for the foundation. So stay tuned for what's going to come after this. But I would say this, between now and the 26th, wish everyone to go to MyRescueDog and post a picture or do your voting. There's some really needy shelters out there that are in the running for some great and important funding. And then after this program wraps up, I think we'll have some holiday gifting in the future.
Now let me ask again, so I understand. Can anybody post a picture of their dog, or
Correct.
Anybody can do that, right?
Correct.
So the dog can already have been rescued.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I would expect all the dogs on there to be dogs that have already been rescued, because these are stories from their owners.
Okay. So, any thoughts of maybe doing another one for dogs who need rescuing?
That's a great point. It's a great point. We'll have to see how this one wraps up and see if how long we're in the rescue dog business.
Right. Exactly. I would think that something like this. Take photographs of dogs that need rescuing, that have not been rescued, and start something like this. It would draw attention to people's attentions to them, and then obviously whatever area they were in, they could look at dogs in their area that need rescuing, and then it would take them to the shelter or the place that where the dog is actually located.
Great idea.
It is a great idea. Well, you can have that one as a freebie.
Thank you.
Jeff, well, listen, really a terrific effort here.
Very simple and intuitive website design. Really, really like it. And definitely Computer America people. If you have a rescue dog, it took me all of a minute and a half to put in my dog's picture and my dog's story, and just awesome.
So you put your dog's a picture. You put Molly and Zach.
Top right along the bar it shows your dogs, and of course, Molly, my dogs, Molly and Zach, are already up there.
I had to put our dogs too. I had to put Jasmine,
Yeah, for sure.
Merlin, and Diesel. Have to go in there. Exactly.
Those are good dog names.
Yeah, they are. And they're all good dogs. All right, Jeff. Well, listen. Thanks so much for being with us here and letting us know about the MyRescueDog.
My pleasure. Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Ben. I really appreciate your time.
Take care. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, so there you go. Again, it's MyRescueDog, and check it out for yourself. And
it's really, really easy.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to have to post our dogs on that.
You know what? Here, just for you, Craig, I'll get Merlin up there.
Are you put Merlin on? I'm going to put Diesel and Jasmine up.
All right.
Well, okay. So let's see how you're doing that. Oh, yeah, you're just posting it there. Very cool. And if you're watching on our live video stream, Ben is actually demonstrating the process of going through.
It's just the dog name. Actually, his last name's Crossman. Can't forget Crossman.
Yes.
As in Craig Crossman's Computer America show.
Mm-hmm.
You put in your shelter name. We like Brother Wolf Animal Rescue. If you listen to our 60-second spot, that's who we play. And they are, of course, located in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
And then you just go to your computer, choose a photo, and I believe this is the best one I have of Merlin. So
Okay.
we're going to do that, and there you go, and you're done.
There he is, Merlin Cross. Look at that face.
It really is that easy, and it's obviously all this is going to a very, very noble cause with $10 for every photo, $1 for every vote. So I know myself, with the time that we've been on here, with my 3 photos and my 10 votes, $40 to needy dogs, and couldn't have been simpler. Definitely go check it out.
All right, so we're going to continue doing our computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. Again, for those Skypers out there, we're still checking on Skype, and so far,
good luck with that.
They're still down. It's amazing because they have the technical people say, "Oh, we're going to have it back shortly." Well, what's shortly? I guess shortly in the different people means different things. Shortly means within an hour or two. but obviously it's taking a lot longer. Technical glitches.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see what news stories we have here that we can continue doing.
You know what? We have two. Okay, wait. We have like one. We need a story that takes like 2 minutes because we have two pretty long ones that we should talk about. And one of them is, of course, the HDR on televisions, and the second one is how Volkswagen just lost 30%, or I'm sorry, 30 or 20. I would say 20%. Yes, 20% of its stock. Volkswagen just lost 20% of its stock price because they lied.
Ooh.
So, you know, we'll be covering those in the next half hour, but for this one, we have like a minute and a half. Anything tickling your interest, Greg?
That curved display, the Microsoft.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Evidently, Microsoft's getting to launch a new hardware device scheduled for October 6th. And one of the things is likely to reveal a second-generation fitness band, the Microsoft Band 2, based on some leaked images. They're actually showing it. And we're not sure whether it's accurate, but they're saying it is. And it certainly looks like things that you've never really seen before. Basically, it sports a curved display with metallic accents on the front panel and physical buttons on the side. So it looks fairly thin. This is in contrast to the current Microsoft Band, which features a flat display on top with no metal accents. The design is a common criticism of what is otherwise a well-received wearable. The second-generation fitness band will also come with more sensors than the original, again, according to the Microsoft Insider. One of them is said to be an altimeter for detecting altitude. That can be important.
I believe the phrase is altimeter.
No, altimeter. You have the accent on the monosyllable. That's going to be used to track going up and down stairs. That's my mighty steep stairs.
Bands.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, it's not been confirmed, but we're going to know next month in New York City. All right, we're going to take a short break, have another news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up, and then we'll get back to those two stories, why HDR on your TV is important and what Volkswagen went through. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hey, I said bombast, not dumb. Oh, hi, it's Marty Winston with a News Tips Bullet Review for Computer America, this time Swiss Plus Tech Tools. Some multi-tools have cutouts as wrenches, stubs as screwdrivers, and so on. Swiss Plus Tech sent a mother load. Their 15-in-1 Megamax has 8 wrench sizes, 10 drivers, a nail puller, a pry bar, and an LED flashlight, all in the size of a Chiclets pack. The carabiner-shaped Micro Slim SDX has wrenches, drivers, a bottle opener, a safety blade, and a key ring quick release. Their key-shaped Mobile Tech Charge Sync has a USB-A one end, a Lightning on the other, and a flashlight in the body. Bodyguard Elite for the car has a talking tire gauge, a tread depth checker, glass breaker, seatbelt cutter, red blinker, loud alarm, and an LED flashlight. Bottom line, agility across the Swiss Plus Tech multi-tool line makes them all notable and totable. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. We just recently said goodbye to MyRescueDog. Very, very interesting website that is there with a purpose. It's more of a contest that's going on right now. It's from Donuts Inc. is the parent company, and the MyRescueDog is a promotional event that will give money to the appropriate charities of dogs. So, it's definitely go check it out. 5 more days. It's going to be wrapping up, and you can actually, hey, help give some money to charities that need it. So, and before we get back to the news, I have a useful tip of the day that I just found out. And I feel remiss that I did not know about this earlier, because it could have saved me a ton of time in the meantime. And this is, if you've ever had to open up a GIF, GIF, whatever you want to call it, a .gif, it's a small little video in a browser. It's, obviously some of them are much, much larger nowadays. People have higher quality videos, and no one really wants to compress these things, so they can get pretty big. And if you have a slower internet connection, or for some reason it's just loading very, very slow, this tip could apply to you. And if you see anything with a .gif ending, .gif ending, all you have to do is add a V. So it's .gif V, V as in Victor. Not kidding. V as in Victor. And you will get the same GIF, and this works with any .gif. You'll get the same GIF, and it will load much, much, much faster. So try it out next time you're waiting for that GIF to load, and I promise you the results will be mind-blowing. You will personally thank me. So, with that being said, we are doing computer and technology news while we have the time. And I think for this next story, we are going to talk about televisions and HDR and why they matter. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a little, spotty on that myself. It's I've seen HDR in cameras, and I find them to be a little saturated, but still offer a very nice range of colors. So I guess it was a little bit of a surprise to see something that I kind of considered as a gimmick to be seen in televisions.
Well, are we talking the 4K TVs now? Is that, or we're just talking the
No, HDR TVs HDR technology is separate from 4K technology.
So is HDR
so you can find HDR in non-4K televisions,
like a 1080p, regular standard high definition?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So this article that we're pulling from is from CNET, Jeffrey Morrison, and HDR, or high dynamic range, for anyone wondering what HDR means, is poised to be the next big thing in televisions. So a few HDR compatible TVs are on the market, and the first HDR TV shows and movies are available to stream. And later this year, or in early 2016, Ultra HD Blu-ray discs will likely appear with HDR titles. So the author kind of asks the question, is this new technology worth the hype? And he says, in 2 words, yes, hopefully. And he's obviously, as I'm sure many people are who review televisions, rightfully jaded at this kind of at new technology in televisions, because after the whole 3D thing, after the whole, it seems like everyone wants to throw in some kind of new technology gimmick to make their TV stand out. And it's very, very rare that something industry standard, or I'm sorry, industry changing happens. But it seems like every other month, someone has a new, better television than everyone else. So HDR TVs, they're coming, and they might be better.
When you say better, I mean, we just reported on the an 8K television. The 4K wasn't good enough. And so we're having all this stuff. Are you saying all this resolution really has nothing to do with HDR?
Yes and no, because I believe that 4K resolution televisions that have HDR content are probably going to make better use of it, but 1080p TVs are still going to be able to make use of HDR technology.
Okay.
So 4K could probably do it better, but that doesn't mean that it's exclusively a 4K feature.
Got it. Okay.
All right. This again, all this is as far as Ben understands. So take all this with Ben doesn't know what he's talking about. All right. So and he starts off with what is high dynamic range, or HDR, and the two most important factors in how a TV looks is contrast ratio, or how bright and dark the TV can get, white or whites, black or blacks, all that kind of thing, and color accuracy, which is basically how closely the colors on screen resemble real life. Now, if you remember old televisions that just had the RGB televisions,
yeah,
they were okay, but you can spot them a mile away compared to today's LED, LCD technology. It's, color fidelity and just how closely they resemble real life nowadays. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I won't lie. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good.
Do you want is the mission here to make it like you're looking through a window, out a window?
No, actually, that's not the express one. The this is getting into what high dynamic range is going to bring. So, going back to the article real quick, if you put two TVs side by side and one has a better contrast ratio and more accurate color, the other just has higher resolution, more pixels, the one with a greater contrast ratio will be picked by pretty much every viewer. It will look more natural, pop more, and just seem more real, despite having a lower resolution. There you go, Craig, kind of answering your question there.
Yeah.
In other words, a 1080p TV with excellent contrast and color beats a 4K resolution TV with average contrast and color every time.
Yeah, there it is. That sums it up.
There you go. So, but HDR expands the range of both contrast and color significantly. Bright parts of the image can get much brighter, and the image seems to have more depth. Colors get expanded to show more bright blues, greens, and reds, and everything in between. So, that's if you're kind of wondering how is that going to come into play, well, that means that even more colors, that brings even more colors to the table. Colors so far impossible to reproduce with TVs up to this point. The reds of a stop sign or fire truck, the deep violet of an eggplant, even the green of many street signs. You may have never noticed before that these weren't exactly how they look in real life, but you sure will now. They say that the wide color gamut will bring these colors and millions more to your eyeballs, which is, again, just what HDR promises.
But, again, there it is again. It seems to me, they keep saying the red of a stop sign or the green of many street signs. They weren't the key words. These weren't exactly how they looked in real life. So, and I says, now you will now. So again, that's my point. Is the mission of HDR to make it look like you're looking out a window? What you're going to see looks like real life, and not, let's say, an amped version of it. An overly bright version of it. That's
again, yes and no. Yes, because I think for everyday television, that's going to be the goal. But HDR doesn't just allow for, what happens in real life. It's not just that. You can actually then, let's say, okay, a great story is not the Wizard of Oz. Let's take the Wizard of Oz. When that first came out, the Yellow Brick Road, all the colors, very vibrant. I mean, it was just a spectacle of color. And it's now imagine that same, but if the director made the choice to make everything more saturated, to make the colors, different, to make the red roses even a brighter red. Like if the director wanted those colors to be different than they were in real life, he now has that option, because before it was kind of limited to the colors that were, that would be displayed. With HDR, you can take any color you want and make that the set color. So it kind of gives content creators a better range of colors to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
it's not just true to life colors, it's also colors that previously weren't available to work with, and now they are.
Now he brings up another point where he's comparing two different types of HDR. One is TV HDR, which we've been talking about, and then something called photo HDR. And he says they're not the same thing.
Right. So just to read off the definitions here: TV HDR, expanding the TV's contrast ratio and color palette to offer a more realistic, natural image than what's possible in today's HD TVs.
Mm-hmm.
With photo HDR, which is what I'm familiar with, I'm sure many other people are more familiar with because they're on most modern smartphones,
Mm-hmm.
combining multiple images with different exposures to create a single image that mimics greater dynamic range. So it seems like photo HDR is kind of like a workaround, an attempt to get true HDR, whereas TV HDR is, obviously will have to be shot and made and created using HDR compatible equipment. But once it's in that format, then the TV HDR will just show it as it is. Photo HDR creates these kinds of images. So, that's the difference.
Okay.
In that.
All right.
Because again, a TV doesn't have to create any kind of content. The TV just has to display content, whereas a photo has to create content. So there you go. And it goes into a little bit how it works and all that kind of stuff. And I think we can wrap it up here by just saying that what's going to matter in this is going to be the content, and if HDR content is going to be available, because this is just like 3D. 3D could offer a lot of very cool promises and things like that, but if there's no content to fuel it, we saw with 3D TV, it kind of falls away. No one really sees the benefit in going out and buying a 3D television when, hey, I'm going to watch a couple movies. That's going to be fun. I have, one or two TV stations with nothing good on. That's not a very big draw. And they're just going to go out and buy normal television because they're not going to justify the increase in cost for a 3D TV. So the content is gonna matter a lot. And the author kind of goes into, when a movie or TV show is created, the director of cinematographer work with a colorist to give the program the right look. Take the muted color tones of Game of Thrones versus the richness and warmth of King's Landing, which if you've ever seen Game of Thrones, it will obviously, there'll be a very stark difference between the two. Get it, Stark? Oh, wait. Craig, you don't watch Game of Thrones, do you?
No.
Well, no. Stark is the name of a character, whatever. If you've been living in a cave or with the HBO or the internet, here's what the author means. And by the way, if you're looking at the story, here is Winterfell in 1, muted grays, very dark, kind of wintry. And if you've been in King's Landing, summery, bright colors, that kind of thing, two very stark differences. So, for movies, the team is able to get use of wide palette of the digital cinema P3 color space to create gorgeous teals, oranges, and violets. But then when it comes to make these movies work on TV, they have to dumb down the image. Thanks to HDR, hopefully you won't have to do that, and we're going to get better looking Blu-rays, but better looking television shows, just better looking stuff. So yeah, and just kind of skip on down here to the bottom line. Most experts the author has spoken to on both content and TV side are excited about HDR and WCG. 4K itself didn't have anyone in those camps that excited. The common refrain was more pixels are cool, but better pixels would be amazing. So though a breathlessly claimed as the next generation of TV evolution, 4K was anything but. Now, the HDR and WCG, we're looking at the promised evolution, and it should be a brighter and more colorful one.
All right. There you go. Well, that cleared up a lot of
Yeah, I personally was very, very fuzzy on just what HDR was bringing to the table because I've seen a couple of commercials for it, but I really didn't know what the point of HDR on television was. So hopefully I myself feel a little bit more enlightened, and hopefully the listeners know what to look for when going out and looking for a television.
All right. Well, there you go.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a 4K TV, although obviously 4K content is coming and you should be out ahead of it. But HDR is also very, very important. So if you can get that, that's also another nice thing to have.
All right. Very good. I wanted to do this other story. I know you had the other one about Volkswagen, but I wanted to do this one. I think we have time. This is from Maximum PC's Paul Lilly. Microsoft updates the Xbox app for Windows 10, and they've announced a beta program to do this. Now, you have Windows 10, and you also have an Xbox One. So I would think this would be of interest to anyone who finds themselves in your position, because Microsoft has been promising that you're going to be able to have this integration with Windows 10 and your Xbox One. And evidently, according to this story, Microsoft has begun rolling out the next wave of updates for the Xbox app on Windows 10. And one of those updates includes a real-time friends list presence. So your friends list will automatically refresh when your gaming buddies are online or offline, along with the apps and games they're using.
I will say this is so sorely needed because one thing I've been doing on Destiny is it's an online MMO, okay?
Okay.
And that means social is going to be a big thing. Massively multiplayer online means that you're playing with potentially hundreds or thousands of other people. Now, any other MMO I've ever played, you have a friends list, you see people walking around, you can message them in game. It's very, very simple to do. With Destiny, though, if there was any sore point in that whole game, everything else is really, really cool. The social system, the social aspect of the game is horrendous. I have to go online, go to support.xbox.com, log into my account, go to messages on a website. This is, again, not within game. Go, have a browser, go in there, message, find people, message them through a browser, ask them to invite me, invite my character tag, and then they have to go through a third app, which is on the Xbox, and then invite you through that. It is atrocious. You have to have 3 different programs just to get invited to a game.
Huh.
So this is hopefully tackling that problem because they have been promising a massive overhaul of the Xbox and Windows 10 integration. So hopefully this covers some of that because right now it's 3 different apps to do one simple thing that otherwise in the other games really is as simple as a right click or a 3 strikes of an A button. It's just awful.
Yeah. And according to this, also on the real-time front with this update are updates to the activity feeds. In other words, it's no longer necessary to mash refresh to see new activity feed items. As long as the Xbox app is open, your activity feed will let you know when there are new things to view, comment on, and so forth. Okay. Now, there are 2 other updates with this. One includes a compare feature in the achievement section that lets you see how you stack up against your friends on specific game progress. That's one of them. And console text entry, which Microsoft says is one of the most requested feature. So you can now use the Xbox app and other inputs compatible with Windows devices to enter text in search boxes and other places on the Xbox One. That's nice. And in addition to the above, Microsoft is throwing fans another bone by introducing the Xbox Beta app. Similar to the Xbox One preview program, people who join the Xbox Beta app program will gain access to features and enhancements before the general public and will be able to offer feedback. The Xbox Beta app will be available later this month in the Windows Store. And when we say later this month, this was today, September. So it's obviously still in the September timeframe.
Yeah.
Look at this. Okay, good. So you're saying this is something that's sorely needed.
It is so sorely needed. Just the whole aspect thing. It seems very much Windows 2000. It just seems like year 2000, 2007, 2008 that like the technology behind it has advanced so much, but Xbox and Microsoft behind Xbox really haven't, developed it at all. They've just kind of left it there and left it as is. And it's, when you go onto any other platform, it's so easy to spot that they have not been working on it. And hopefully this is them doing a massive overhaul and saying, okay, folks, here it is for the modern age. Hey, a friends list that you can actually use. It's like, oh, okay, that's nice. Thank you. So hopefully it lives up to its own hype. So with another 6 minutes left, we're going to get right in and try to talk about this one really, really quick.
Yeah.
This is Volkswagen. Yes, that Volkswagen.
Yeah.
They did a no-no, a huge, massive no-no, where they kind of lied to the government and people and everyone. So Volkswagen apologizes, stops diesel sales in wake of U.S. emissions scandal. The German automaker orders its U.S. dealerships to halt sales of affected cars and could face nearly $18 billion in federal fines.
Wow.
So, Volkswagen Group is apologizing after the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency accused the automaker of using illegal software in its TDI diesel cars to skirt U.S. emission standards. They have the CEO, Dr. Martin Winterkorn of Volkswagen, said, quote, "Deeply sorry that we've broken the trust of our customers and the public. So sorry that we got caught." The German automaker ordered its U.S. Volkswagen and Audi dealerships to halt sales of affected vehicles until a fix can be issued. So the whole thing happened when the EPA claimed certain Volkswagen and Audi vehicles use software that meets clean diesel emission standards when hooked up to testing equipment, but then switches to a dirtier mode when disconnected. That's sneaky. This causes the torquey TDIs to actually spew up to 40 times more tailpipe emissions when driven in the real world.
Oh my gosh.
Again, for anyone out there who didn't catch that, when they're hooked up to testing equipment, the software switches to the industry standard cleaner emission. But when it's in the real world, when it's not hooked up to testing equipment, flips a switch, bam, 40 times more tailpipe emissions.
Wait a minute. Who would come up with that? They have a software engineer that says, we're just going to do it this way. And
I would assume they did it because of some kind of efficiency. That's maybe the dirtier way is, I wouldn't say more efficient, just probably gets more fuel out of it. I don't even know. I don't know why they would do this.
Yeah, I'm saying because that's the whole purpose of a test, of the testing facility, to see what your car is doing on the road, not what you're doing at the testing station, and to purposely come up with something that's going to give you a different reading for when you're going through the quote unquote test procedure, and then when you go out on the road, you get something that's belching out 40 times more emissions. That's just wrong, and you're right. They got caught, and on that scale, to have that many people in collusion, it's one.
All right. Yeah. Right. Now, let's get to some numbers. For anyone out there with a 2009 and 2015 Volkswagen Jetta, Beetle, or Golf, and the 2014-2015 Volkswagen Passat, and the 2009 to 2015 Audi A3, that's 482,000 diesel passenger cars. So depending on the outcome of the EPA and CARB's investigation, the automaker could be hit with a maximum penalty fine of $37,500 for each vehicle in violation.
Wow.
Possible $18 billion. So in the wake of the scandal, Volkswagen stock dropped by 23%, wiping out about $17.6 billion in shareholder value.
Huh. Wow.
By the way, just as a stock advice thing for someone who does not buy stock at all, hold on to that. That is a maximum possible $18 billion fine, and they're gonna come out with some apology, and they're going to come out with, some kind of fix, and that stock is going to go back up. So, hold on to that stock. But the Volkswagen Group said it will be cooperating fully with the EPA and California Air Resource Board in their investigation. The automaker has also ordered its own external investigation into the matter, according to its release. A fix for the issue will likely come in the form of an emission software update issued at local Volkswagen dealership and service centers.
Wow.
What a horrible scandal.
Yeah, really. And the thing is, you have to have so many people involved with something. This is not just a one person, doing this.
No, and again, that's why I said when I was reading, the CEO's apology, deepest sorry that we've broken the trust of our customers in public. Yeah, you're sorry that you got caught. I mean, this is not, one rogue guy went out and did this. No, this was probably orders from somewhere up the top, trying to make these cars like this. This is not one guy. This is a company practice.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely terrible. Well, we're about out of time here. Again, I want to thank our guest, Jeff Davidoff, the CMO from MyRescueDog. Check out the website, MyRescueDog, and get your dog's picture uploaded. I know Ben's did ours, and I'm going to finish. He did 3 of our dogs. I'm going to do the other 2 after this.
Again, it takes like a minute and a half. Totally go do it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, coming up on tomorrow's show, we're going to have 2 guests. The first one's called Myonix. Okay, Mionix. They make some amazing mice. They have a mouse in here that has a heart sensor in it. Look at that. And galvanic skin response sensors. They've got some incredible gaming mice here, and they're going to be joining.
I love it.
In the first hour, and then in the second hour, Super League Gaming. This is the world's first recreational video game league in a cool movie theater. Every week, gamers bring laptops and friends to a nearby Regal, AMC, Cinemark, or iPix. Super League creates the best entertaining gameplay experience ever. I mean, you're there with all these people. This looks really cool. We're going to have them on in the second hour of the show. So Myonix, the first hour, the CEO, COO, and president, and then the Super Gaming. So that wraps it up, and we'll see you same time, same station. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you then.
Good night, everyone. Skype's still down.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so again, thanks to all of you who are watching us on our live video stream, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow. Again, Tuesday at 3 p.m., and we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.